Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Sitting in for Pinky Webb, I'm Ria Tanjuatco-Trillo. Today on the program, the price ceiling on rice begins today despite the appeal of retailers to defer its implementation. The government promises to offer financial subsidy and other forms of assistance to rice retailers who will incur losses. And a bill is filed in the House to encourage farmers to produce more rice stocks. Agri Party-list Representative Wilbert Lee joins us live. The price ceiling on rice begins today despite the appeal of retailers that it will lead to losses in their businesses. President Bongbong Marcos insists the move is necessary and that the price cap stays until the supply stabilizes. He also promised the government will offer financial aid and other forms of assistance to affected retailers. The House of Representatives is also coordinating with the Department of Budget and Management to allocate 2 billion pesos for the retailers. Rex Remito has more.
President Marcos was bound for the ASEAN summit in Indonesia, but he could not avoid tackling a domestic concern, the price ceiling on rice. The president's explanation on the rice situation comes amid calls from rice retailers to stop the price cap. While consumers stand to benefit from the policy, retailers say they will be at the losing end. The president blames rampant smuggling and hoarding that caused artificial shortage. He says policymakers don't see any reason for the staple to cost more than 50 pesos per kilogram. President Marcos says while the market should dictate prices,
napilitan ang gobyerno na pumasok at magsabi na maglagay tayo ng price control para naman naghihirap na ang tao, dapat naman wag na natin dagdagan ng kanilang kahirapan.
The president says the price ceiling stays until supply stabilizes with the onset of harvest. He adds government is determined in its campaign against smugglers and hoarders. The chief executive says he understands some retailers stand to lose for buying from suppliers at higher prices and selling cheap. That's why the Trade and Agriculture departments are coming up with a list of retailers who will receive financial aid. The Social Welfare and Development Department will also pitch in the help. Retailers met with the president in Malacanang ahead of his Jakarta trip to voice out their concerns and appeal. They're asking for help to access cheaper rice, as well as assistance to cut transport costs. Retailers in wet markets are requesting a moratorium on fees and rental to offset possible losses, as well as toll and fuel discounts.
Nandyan ang gobyerno ninyo upang magbigay ng tulong para sa inyo lahat, para naman bawi ang lugi ninyo na nangyari dahil sa price cap.
Without mentioning a timetable, Social Welfare Chief Rex Gatchalian says the agency will come up with a list of beneficiaries soon. Rex Remito, CNN Philippines, Jakarta, Indonesia.
Amid the president's directive to set price ceilings on rice nationwide, Agri Party-list Representative Wilbert Lee renewed his call to implement long-lasting government interventions to alleviate rising rice prices. Now let's go straight to the source of the story. Agri Party-list Representative Wilbert Lee. Congressman, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Ria. To our viewers, good morning. Thank you for this opportunity to share with you some of the highlights of one of the bills that we filed.
Right.
Regarding the hottest issue now.
Right, this price ceiling, it's taking effect today, right? This is from Executive Order 39, and it means that the price cap for regular milled rice needs to be at 41 pesos,
yes,
and for the well-milled rice,
it's 45.
45, okay.
Yeah.
For you, Congressman, is this price ceiling at least a step in the right direction?
Well, as I've said in some of the other interviews, this is just a temporary stopgap measure by the President. I'm glad that ginawa niya po ito, but again, this is a short-term solution, so we have to look into the long-term solution of this.
Right. Now, okay, given that this is a short-term solution, do you think there should at least be a timeline for this? And what would that timeline depend on?
Well, the President had said that, until the prices of rice stabilizes, then the price cap will remain. The only thing is the government has to closely monitor this because there's a danger na mas lalong mawawala po yung bigas sa ating merkado, no? Because bakit ko naman ibebenta ng palugi, no? Kung lugi nga ako, so magsasara na lang ako ng tindahan. So the government really has to monitor it. And then I'm glad that the President also has made the announcement that there's a 2 billion peso na para doon naman sa mga malulugi, no? Na pinapahanda niya, no? So I think mahirap na gawin ng Pangulo ito because it's a balancing act on his part, actually.
Right. It would be very difficult to please everybody on this. But, Congressman, let me ask you, why does it have to even come to a point na kailangan pa mag-impose ng price cap? I know we probably don't have the time to answer this question, but what is the ultimate reason kung bakit hindi bumababa ang presyo ng bigas?
Well, we have a law, the anti-agriculture smuggling law, which my party list during the last Congress was the principal author, no? I think we have to really, really implement it, no, yung anti-agricultural law, no. This Congress, I filed an amendment to this law na sinasama ko yung hoarder because this is the reason, no, yung rason ngayon ay yung mga hoarders and price manipulators. That's the main reason bakit tumataas yung presyo natin. Of course, tumaas din, nagkaroon din ng pagbabago sa presyo sa international market, but the main reason really is yung pong mga hoarders na nangyayari, no? So that's why in this Congress, I filed an amendment to the anti-agricultural smuggling law na isama itong mga hoarders and price manipulators, which unfortunately hindi na isama nung nakaraang Congress, no?
Okay, but you are working towards that.
Yes, and yung mga kasabwat sa government, no? That's the most important part, yung mga kasabwat sa government.
Okay, I want to touch on supply for a moment. Do we have enough supply? How much supply do we need? How much do we import?
Every year, the production for palay is about 20 million metric tons, no? For this year, we're projecting 19.5 to 20 million metric tons, no? Pag ginawa natin itong bigas, it will be about 13 million metric tons. The total consumption for a year of the whole country is about 16 million. That's why we are importing about 3 million metric tons every year, plus the buffer stock na kailangan natin. We're not talking about hindi pa kasama dyan pag nagkaroon ng bagyo and kalamidad, no? So yun po yung total production natin, no? Sad to say, our production per hectare is way below yung mga kasama, yung mga ibang Asian countries.
Why is that?
The average production per hectare of our palay is about 4.6 metric ton, no? While in Thailand and Vietnam, it's about 8,000 to 10,000 metric tons.
So double.
So double, no? More than double, actually. So the main reason actually is walang kinikita yung magsasaka natin, no? That's the main reason. I mean, who would want to go into farming if wala namang kita, no? At the end of the day, nagpagod ka na and everything, wala ka namang kita. So that's the
very difficult. Okay, now the government has given warnings for people who don't follow the price cap, which, as we said, is starting today. There will be sanctions and fines imposed. Should the government give retailers a chance to at least adjust or give them the opportunity to sell off their stocks which they bought at a higher price?
Well, there's a group na nagsabi, no, at least give the retailers, no. But last night, before the president left for Indonesia, he made an announcement that there will be a 2 billion peso na para po assistance dito sa mga malulugi, no.
Is that enough?
Well, I think for now that would be enough because hindi naman po karamihan dahil sinasabi nila kaya nga ganito ang nangyayari because may kakulangan ng bigas sa merkado, no. So I think that would be enough for now, no. No. So yun po yung that's my take on that.
Right. So he's ordered sort of like all hands on deck here, the Trade Department and the DSWD, to facilitate this assistance to retailers. How soon should this be addressed?
Well, the House of Representatives, through our Speaker, Martin Romualdez, has already coordinated with the DBM. I think this will be very soon, kasi hindi rin naman pwede itong patagalin, no? Because, gaya nga ng sabi nyo, nalulugi nga yung mga retailers, no? Hindi rin naman pwedeng hindi ito tingnan, no? So, we have to balance everything, actually, no?
Because do you foresee that if this is not done right away, you have retailers who could possibly, because they have said they might as well just close shop,
yeah.
And then that's going to reduce supply in the market.
Yes, correct.
So
Correct.
is that something that could happen?
Yes, it could happen. No? It could happen because as I've said, this price cap ceiling, yan po yung magiging effect niya. No? Baka isara na lang or hindi na lang magbenta. No? Because bakit ko naman ibebenta kung malulugi? No? But remember, hindi mo rin pwede itago na matagal din yung mga bigas. No? So, yun.
What is your biggest concern with the price cap that takes effect today?
Well, my biggest concern is really yun pong baka lalo pong mawala yung supply sa market. No? Because of that. No? Yeah.
Okay, we still have a lot to talk about, Congressman, but we will be taking a short break for now. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Ria Tanjuatco-Trillo. Our source today, Agri Party-list Representative Wilbert Lee. All right, let's get straight back into it, Congressman. We were talking earlier about agri smugglers and hoarders. President Marcos said in his second SONA that their days are numbered. How aggressive does the government need to be in going after these smugglers and hoarders?
Well, actually, to put it bluntly, Ria, dapat may masampulan. No? So, we have been filing cases and nothing has been happening. No? So, dapat meron talaga masampulan. We really have to go after them, masampulan. No? And the bill, the amendment to the bill that I filed is about yung mga kasabot sa government. No? Kaya walang nangyayari sa mga kaso na pinafile. It's because of ito po mga kasabot na nandito sa government. No? So, mahina ang ebidensya, mahina yung mga nakukuha or nawawala yung mga ebidensya because ito po mga kasabot sa government. Yan po yung nangyayari ngayon.
It's a systematic problem. Now, for your proposal in amending the law that you originally authored, is there a timeline for that?
Well, I'm pushing for it to be passed in the House of Representatives this year, and hopefully it will go into the Senate next year. Sana before the end of the President's term, maipasok po itong amendment na to.
Okay, so medyo matagal pa, in truth. It'll take a couple of years, you think?
No, sorry, not matapos. By the end of 2024, sana matapos.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. By this Congress?
Yeah, by this
Okay.
Congress. Yeah.
All right.
Because I was thinking about the election 2025. Naalala ko, 2028 pa pala yung presidential election.
Right. Now, you've been in the agriculture sector for decades. What are the long-term solutions here? Because it feels like in the Philippines, we're just always playing catch-up, chasing our tail, going for the short-term solutions. What do we need to do to be self-sufficient in rice?
One sentence actually. We have to make it profitable for our farmers. No? That's the main one sentence. No? So that's why I filed the bill. No? It's House Bill 9020. No? It's actually, we call it the Cheaper Rice Act. No? So in the bill, no, ang gusto ko mangyari dyan is price subsidy. No? We have to buy palay, no? Make it simple, buy palay from the farmers directly na may kita yung farmers and sell low to the consumers. No? That's it. So we have to make it profitable for them. Once they are profitable, pag may kita yung mga farmers, sino ba yung magbebenta pa ng lupa? Yung pong problema natin, just like the fear of some people that ito pong new Agrarian and Emancipation Act that the President have signed, that, by the way, we are also the principal author for this. Ang fear po ng iba, ibibigay mo, ibebenta lang. No? After the 10-year prohibition period, ibebenta lang ito. No? If it's profitable, sino pa magbebenta ng lupa? No? And then,
is it possible to make it profitable within those 10 years?
Yes, exactly. And then yung pong the youth, no, we can encourage them to go into farming also because it's profitable, no. And then our farmers, lalo sila magsusumikap to increase the production. And there would come a time because of this, hindi na tayo mag-i-import. We will be the one to export to other countries, no? Because may kita sila, they will do everything that the production will be at par, no? Katulad sa ibang bansa, which is 8,000 kilos per hectare.
That's double of
That's double already.
So why is it double? They have better technology, they have... Wait, what is it?
Yeah, they have, well, I hate to say this, no, but there are lots of our farmers, because wala ngang kita, no, so hindi nila talaga tinututukan. And then, because walang kita, instead na they buy fertilizer to make the production, mas maraming production, they use the money for some other purpose, some other reason. No?
Okay.
So instead na 5 sakong fertilizer yung ilalagay, 1 sako na lang ilalagay, 2 sako na lang ilalagay. Because kailangan nila ng pera, because wala silang kita. No? So that is what is happening. And it's a cycle. It's a cycle. So ganun nangyayari. They don't have cheap capital, they will borrow, they borrow with high interest, they have to pay, and then wala silang kita, pag ani, lugi sila, they have to borrow again. So they will use, instead of using the money for agriculture, they use it for some other purpose. No? So
Right.
nangyayari.
Yeah, it is like you said, it's a vicious cycle.
It's a vicious
really.
cycle.
Okay, I want to talk about the rice tariffication law. Is this something that we need to review? Because a lot of groups are blaming the rice tariffication law for the current rice price situation.
It's part of our commitment to WTO. No? The rice liberalization has been delayed for 20 years already. No? When we joined WTO 1991, it's part of our commitment. No? With this bill that I filed, making farmers profitable, ang mangyayari kasi, we have to make sure that the farmers, yung bibili natin palay sa kanila, meron silang kita at least, no, example, at least 10 pesos per kilo. All right, per kilo. So, the government buys from the farmer na mas mataas na presyo, and then pabayaan na natin po itong pag-i-import. No? So, kung pag-import, mababa yung presyo sa merkado, the government can sell the rice na binili sa farmers, yung mga palay, at a lower cost also, kung magkano yung sa market. No?
Okay.
So, parang government po ang dapat po how do you call it? Siya yung parang regulate or no? There's a word. Sorry, there's a word. No? Siya yung parang equalizer, no? Equalizer to that. No? So if the price from imports mataas, then the government can still sell the rice,
Right.
no?
From the local
from the
farmers.
local at a lower price.
So
No?
still prioritizing the Filipino
The
farmer.
Filipino farmers. Yeah.
Okay, with that we need to take a break, Congressman. We will be taking a short one. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. We have breaking news on CNN Philippines. The country's inflation rate rises to 5.3% in August 2023 from 4.7% in July 2023. The Filipino Statistics Authority says this is the first increase in inflation after 6 straight declines. National statistician Dennis Mapa says the main drivers of the acceleration were the food and non-alcoholic beverages and transportation. Again, breaking news, inflation accelerates in August at 5.3%, breaking its 6-month downward trend. Stay tuned to CNN Philippines for more details on this breaking story. But for now, let's go back to our source today, Agri Party-list Representative Wilbert Lee. Okay, Congressman, we have a few minutes left here on the program. This peso of 20 pesos per kilo of rice, you've said before that it's still doable.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes, it's doable, provided that the government is willing to really invest on our farmers. We have to give all the subsidies, we have to support them. We have to give, during the budget season, I'm looking into yung pong pagbaba ng mga pondo, no? Especially the post-harvest facilities. No? We have money na hindi po na ibababa. No? So, we're making sure that all of these post-harvest facilities and equipments will reach the farmers. No? Yun po, nagkaroon po ng strong commitment yung ating mga kausap sa ahensya that by the end of the year, ibababa po nila ito. No? So, yan po yung mga dapat nating gawin. No? The 20 pesos is doable, provided the government is willing to invest on our local farmers. We have to make our local farmers as our food security soldiers. When you say food security, to me, is an issue of national concern. Now, if it's national concern, food security, it's also a national security issue. When you say it's national security issue, automatic to me, it's an expense item.
Right.
So, meaning to say the government has to really allot money every year, for this. No? So,
Does the DA have enough money? Are you asking for enough money? I mean, you're not with the DA, of course, you're with Congress, but is the DA asking for enough money for all of this?
Yeah, it has increased tremendously from the last, the last administration. No? It's good that the president, as long as the president is prioritizing agriculture, okay po yan, nagdagdagan yung pondo ng ating pong gobyerno. But as I have said, yung pong ating mga local farmers, we have to really make them as our food security soldiers. So that in the long run, pagdating ng araw, hindi natin kailangan umasa sa importation. What happened, pag halimbawa, katulad ngayon, there are some countries na ayaw na pong mag-export. So we will be dependent on them. So we have to really strengthen our local farmers.
Yeah, we see OFWs as economic heroes.
Yeah.
We should see farmers as heroes as well.
Because ever since dati pa, noon pa, sila talaga yung naghihirap, nagpapakain sa atin.
Right. So for you, in sum, Congressman, what is the biggest challenge in achieving this 20 peso per kilo rice?
No, the biggest challenge really is, it's good, as I've said, that the president is prioritizing agriculture. The biggest challenge really is to make it profitable for farmers.
Yeah.
Make
That's the
it
key.
profitable for them. And the government has to be the enabler for that. For it to happen, the government has to be the enabler.
Okay, and the top enabler for that would be the president, because
Yes.
he's been the chief of the agriculture department
Yes.
for over a year now. Congressman, are you still satisfied with President Marcos as agriculture chief, or do you think it's time for him to delegate this post to someone else, someone who can really dedicate 101% of their time to it?
There are pros and cons, but for me, as long as he is prioritizing agriculture as the program, as the main priority of his government, it is okay for me that the president will be the agriculture secretary because the buck stops on him. So mas maganda po para sa akin na siya po yung nandyan.
Okay, because whoever would sit there in his place would have to go through
Yes.
him anyway.
Yes, correct.
So you're just sort of skipping a step
Yes, correct.
by
correct.
going straight to the
And the
president.
main responsibility of the government is really to look into food sufficiency and food security of the country. Una-una dapat pangalagaan ng gobyerno yung tiyan ng mga mamamayan. So, sino pa yung mas magandang nakaupo dyan kundi ang ating Pangulo?
So satisfied po kayo sa performance ni President?
Yes, yes. And we have seen in his pronouncement in the last SONA also that agriculture continues to be his main priority.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for being here on the show this morning and sharing your morning with us.
Thank you so much, Ria. Isingit ko lang, the Anti-Agricultural Smuggling Act pala is part of the LEDAC bill. So we're looking at passing it by the end of the year.
Okay, that is definitely good news, sir. Thank you very much. That was Agri Party-list Representative Wilbert Lee. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. Sitting in for Pinky Webb, I'm Ria Tanjuatco-Trillo. You're watching CNN Philippines.